Hey guys, welcome to the weekly Vega Fairground Jam. This is Dagan. I'm one of the community managers and the mega boss of Fairground Jams. And today I'm back with you again. It's every Thursday, 6 p.m. UTC. And each week we take a deep dive into an aspect of the Vega protocol with a member of the Vega team or some special guests. And today we have two very cool guests. We have both Matt and Valentin, or Valentin, as he calls himself, the Wallet Man, and we have Wallet Man sidekick Matt. And they've been very busy at work, developing, coding away, and creating a nice MVP version of the desktop wallet. We've mentioned it in previous Vega tech updates. If you subscribe to the Vega Medium blog, which is blogged.vega.xyz. And if you head over there, you can check the tech updates and you can see we've been talking about a desktop version of the Vega wallet, which is currently on the command line. And we'd like some feedback on what we've created. So please tune in today, give us some thoughts. And yeah, as always, before we begin and get into it, whilst Matt and Valentin are presenting and taking you through a walkthrough of what they've created, you're free to ask any questions you want in the Twitch chat, and we'll either answer them throughout the call if they're relevant or towards the end. So I won't hog the screen anymore. I'll hand over. So let's begin. Either Valentin or Matt. I think maybe Valentin will go first. Would you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Hi guys, so my name is Valentin. I'm actually part of the core engineer team, and I used to work on the CLI, so the latest improvement that we did last month has been my work, and that's pretty much everything for me. And yeah, I worked on the back end of the desktop wallet. Over to you, Matthew.
Hi there. Yep. Also a developer focusing on the UI side of things. And so, yeah, I've been working on the wallet with Valentin, giving a nice GUI interface to the functionality he's been working in the backend. And yeah, it's been a really fun project to go along the side of a lot of other work that we've been doing, but we've been hearing lots of feedback from users that this is something they want, and so me and Valentin decided to just go ahead and get this built. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can share my screen and start sort of demoing where we're at.
Yeah, go for it. Looking forward to it.
Cool. So you should all see my desktop, I think, and you should also see down here a nice little Vega icon in my dock. Which is what it will look like once you've downloaded and installed the app, which I believe hopefully will be just make that available for download from vega.xyz, and possibly from app stores and things, depending on signing process and where we get to with that. But if I open it up, let me just drag that into view. This is a sort of first screen you're going to see, which is going to prompt you to create a brand new wallet. If you've already used the command line, it should pick up any previously created wallets, and you will see a different screen, which we'll come to later. And also, if you need to recover at this point, say you lost your command line wallet and you want to import it into the desktop version, you can also import it if you have stored your recovery phrase, which is obviously very important. So I'll go ahead and create a new one. I'll call it test, and we will create it. Now, obviously, at this point, make sure you copy your recovery phrase and store it somewhere secure. We're doing some work here to basically give you a little bit more context about this and sort of make it a little bit more obvious, and sort of more important, shout at you a bit more, as it were, so that people don't forget to do this. With that, you can now go over here, and that's the first wallet I've created, and we can click through. I have to enter our password again. And next step, we need to actually generate a key pair so that we can sign transactions on Vega. So that's just a click and another password. And there we have our public key. I believe we can also click through and view the full key here if you want to. That's the most functionality you can do with key pairs at the moment. There's some further work upcoming to manage your key more. You can taint them, you can untaint them so that they can't be used. Basically, all the things that you can do on the command line, we're slowly adding functionality to the GUI. But based on feedback, we don't feel like that's the biggest priority right now. Most people at this point just need one key to stake, for example. And there isn't too much need for multiple keys, which there will be potentially when people start trading on mainnet. Okay, so the next step you would need to do to get set up and running is to get a network configuration, which is done by going up to the menu here and going to import network config. There's two ways of getting one. Basically, you just need a file. It's a TOML file, and if you have one on your desktop, you can import it by path. Or if you don't, you can go find one online, and if you have a link to that raw file somewhere, you should be able to use it, import by URL as well. So one place you can get one of these files is on the network's GitHub, which I'm pretty sure is open source, Valentin. I should have checked that before, but I'm pretty sure you can go in here and it's open source. You can go over to the repo. I'll go to the actual repo to show you.
Yes, this repository is actually open source, so everything should be, and this is the advertised and advised way to get the configuration of the network.
Yep. And so, yeah, here you can get networks for testnet, for devnet, for whichever network you want to communicate with. We'll go with mainnet, and we'll go to the mainnet TOML file. We can go over here and click raw. And then once we have that URL, we can go back in here, paste it in here, give it a name. It's autocomplete is annoying me. That's a reminder to potentially disable that if it's annoying for most people. And at this point, we can submit. And we have imported a network. Gives you the location of where that's stored. And also you'll notice in the top right now, you have what we've sort of called the network switcher. So if you have multiple of these, right now there's only one, perhaps there's some extra work here to not show the drop down if there is only one. But if you say wanted to also connect to DevNet, you could import another network and select which one you're currently connected to in this top right using this drop down. What's next? Yep. So we have a network now, we have a wallet, we have a key. And at this point, you're pretty much set up to start using the wallet on mainnet. So as an example, we could go over to token. Oh, actually, sorry, I should say there's a better way to do this. I was going to go directly to the token DApp website and connect via the website, but we actually also have provided a service, which this basically starts a proxy to the live on your local server, and that can help with some browsers which don't allow you to. Sorry, that opened in a different browser of choice, but it will open your default browser. I'm using Chrome here, but my default's actually Firefox, so it opened in a different window. But now that the site is served or proxied over localhost, it allows you to connect to a service running in the wallet more seamlessly. And that can cause problems with, depending on your browser settings, it can prevent you connecting at this point. So I'm over here now, and now I can go ahead and connect to the wallet. And I'll bring up the wallet as well, so you can see over here. Maybe I'll do this so we can see both at the same time. And you'll notice at the bottom here, it says service running at 127.0.0.1 on port 1789. And that's what we put in as the default here on the token DApp as well, just for ease of use. You can customize this if you want. If you go into your network configuration settings and edit them. But this is what we've chosen for the default. We've also told you here that you actually have the token app running on this URL if you close the tab and want to go back to it. And from here, we just use the username and passphrase that we already connected, and we should be connected. So now I have my Vega wallet connected. The app also automatically connected to my test MetaMask account. And so at this point, I'm fully set up to go in and stake on Vega by first associating and then nominating to a validator, which will, on this app, communicate to the wallet running here and send the transaction. I can't actually go through the whole thing here because I haven't got any funds to actually stake. But from this point, you would just go ahead with the same flow as what you would do in the command line wallet. A couple more things to cover. As I said, you can just connect directly to this without running the proxy if your browser allows for it. You can also just stop the app. This will remain open because it's there, but if I refresh, it's now closed. And we can also stop and start the service just using this button here. There's probably going to be some design changes from this sort of simplistic version. But this, just gives you control to stop and start things, what's running, what's not, if you want to communicate with the wallet, send a transaction, or whatever you want to do. I'll just quickly go over here to the menu again, and we can go look at our network configuration. So this is basically a nicer view of this TOML file that you see on the right-hand side. So showing you things like the name that you've given, log levels, token expires, the host and port, settings for console and settings for the token DApp proxies, and then all the nodes that you will connect to for this particular network. This particular design might need a little bit more refinement. It's quite a lot. Perhaps we should section it up a little bit. But yeah, just another note on here. But with regard to sending transactions, I believe it'll do like a round robin. So if you stake, it'll randomly pick one of the nodes, and then for every next transaction that you send, it'll use a different node. Is that correct, Valentin?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I was just talking about how we send transactions using the wallet, and as I understand, there's sort of a round robin system to ensure that we're using a different node for each transaction.
Actually, today we are taking the first node, and we are moving on to other nodes if it's failing. Okay. So this is kind of round robin.
Gotcha. Okay. But yes, so you can configure this though. So if you only ever want to send transactions to one node, you could go in and edit this to only have one, and then you'd only ever be using that one node. To go into here, this is like kind of a large form. As I said, it probably needs to be broken up a bit. But if you didn't want to send a transaction to this particular node, we could remove it, go down, save it. Some validation. So let's just do what's the URL I need here? It's Fairground .console.jf, I think. I'm not sure if that's correct. That might not actually work when I try and use the console proxy. But now that I've saved that, if I go back to the network, you'll see that that node is no longer there. So you can maintain that list however you see fit. I guess the final thing is, I guess I'll show the network switcher if we have a second network. So I can go and get a second configuration. Let's go to Fairground, get this get this URL, paste that in here. And we'll put this Fairground, and we can add this in and now you'll see we have 2 in here. It stays connected to the one you had previously, but now we have 2 in here. So if you are, I don't know, maybe you're a developer creating a app on top of Vega, and you don't want to obviously be on mainnet, you can then go to some sort of test or devnet and work off of that. I think I've covered everything. I think worth noting as well, one thing we've made some changes on that isn't in this build is this particular form. It's a little confusing that the way it's laid out, because you actually only need one of these 2 files. If I try and submit this, it'll say file path or URL required, but we'd like this to be a bit more obvious from the start. So I think what we're going to do here is have maybe some like a radio button or something to just switch between network and URL and just have one field. And we probably won't show this unless. So what this does, sorry, I should say, is if you try and import a network with the same name as one that you've already got stored in the app, it'll fail, but you can overwrite it using this checkbox here. But as I said, I think that's more of an edge case, and we're going to hide that away and only give you the option to do that if you try to import another network with the same name. Say I've tried to import another mainnet network, and I also called it mainnet. We just have to force you to either overwrite or provide a different name just to avoid a clash. I think, I mean, that's covered everything where we're up to now. We've got ongoing work to provide more functionality with sort of managing a wallet, adding metadata, tainting and untainting, as I said, deleting keys, and then isolating a key, I think, is another one we need to do. And that's pretty much it, I think. As I said, plenty left to do.
There are other things that we can do if we really want to have like completely feature complete desktop wallet. But there are some cases that are usually only of interest for the validators. So this is something that we might not address right away anyway, as we also need some feedback from the community to improve the software in the right direction. And so we can address and like really focus on having the greatest user experience. And then we might then proceed to implement more corner cases user feature in the future, I guess.
Yeah, I think you touched on a really important point, which is, you know, validators, they have the command line app, they have developers who are going to be comfortable using that. And our real focus with the desktop is to get our everyday users really comfortable and set up fast. I think we still need to focus on some areas and some communication probably within the app itself, and sort of inline documentation is kind of what I think we've called it, where we don't want to have to send you off to a documentation website to use the desktop app. It should, with our upcoming changes and with any feedback provided, we're going to try and build it in a way which is very self-explanatory to use, communicates, you know, dead end points. For example, getting a network configuration is something we're currently thinking about. What's the easiest way we can direct someone to a valid configuration file without having to, you know, potentially send them off to GitHub or things like that. Those are some communication sort of tasks that I think we need to solve to make that really, really easy and slick.
Cool. Thank you for the presentation. That was really quite exhaustive. So thanks again. We have some questions from the audience members. One is one of the guys from Nelson Monty3 said he had that you say if you're a developer looking to build an app on Vega, can you go ahead and do so? He asked, does Vega have an EVM? And they understand that Vega is running on its own chain. So to repeat the question, if you're like, you said something about being a developer and building apps on Vega. Can you elaborate more on that process?
Yeah, so I think it might be a little bit tricky to get started at the moment, but certainly that is the direction we want to go with, and really promote and get people doing that. We're working on, setup, having a really easy way to set up sort of a locally running Vega network, to make this process a lot easier. But certainly go right ahead. I think we've done a few sort of mini hackathons already, where people have, built little front-end apps which show data from Vega using like GraphQL APIs, and things like that. So certainly, I think, yeah, we really want people doing that.
And there was, well, I can clarify some things on that question. And firstly is that we have a big hackathon coming up soon. So if you keep your eyes open, you'll see an announcement in the near future. So you got some sneak alpha from being in the school. But yeah, really, really big hackathon with lots of different bounties coming up soon. And you can start practicing building on Vega then, so that when we eventually, once the software gets more and more mature, you've got a head start, and then you can start building things of real value with real money trading in the future. And then they asked a bit about the EVM. So how does Vega have an EVM, or does it run in its own chain? Which I know the answer to, but maybe you guys can give a clear answer.
Yes, I just would like to bounce on the first question is, sure, you can start building things, but keep in mind that Vega is heavily under development. So you have to expect some API breaking changes, CLI changes as well. Also, about the EVM, I think you are referring about the Ethereum wallet. We are not running any virtual machine. We are not running any Ethereum virtual machine, because we are running our own blockchain, which is based on the Tendermint blockchain, which is developed by the guys behind the Cosmos. So they are basically really releasing some kind of framework to build the blockchain onto, and we are leveraging this. And this is our own. We are not built on Cosmos. We are not built on Ethereum. We are built on Tendermint, which is our very own blockchain.
Cool. Thanks, Valentin. Another question is the GUI wallet also going to come to Windows? Because you demonstrated it on the Mac.
Yep, will be.
There you go. Heard it here.
This is supposed to be a cross-platform software, so you will have the exact same user experience on all platforms. We are trying to ensure this.
Great. Question from me. Question I'm surprised no one's asked, but I figured would come up. What's the release date? When wallet? When do we get to test it?
To be honest, today we can't announce any release date. We can only say that it's coming soon, because there are some things that we need to adjust, just like Matthew mentioned during the demonstration. Also, you have to be aware that we are preparing even bigger things to be for the next releases to come. So this project is not the highest priority of the company, and we have limited resources. So we are still carry on with this side project because it is a side project, and but it's hopefully coming out soon. And once it's coming out, we can improve it faster and faster every day.
Cool, thank you. I guess I'll finish it off with, what are you guys prioritizing, and what is the focus right now if the wallet is not the key thing? What's taking up all of the development time within Vega?
So I believe well, I can speak for front end, and I think I can touch on Valentin, correct me, but I think the main focus right now, in terms of core, is to get trading up and going. Is that correct, Valentin?
Yes, this is exactly this. And also there are some additional features that are really needed for us to create a truly decentralized protocol. So we are working on the validator, the dynamic validator, because as you might know, guys, we are actually running today a network with a limited set of validator. It's a static list of validator, and we are also working on implementing something more dynamic. And there are many other things that we are going to improve around this, so we can have the trading enabled in a truly decentralized manner, or at least as much as possible for a first version.
Yeah, and with regards to front end, we're working a lot on creating more reusable packages so that we can better share code between various dApps or other packages. Basically, yeah, to avoid duplicating logic and just be able to make us move faster in the future. So after the work that we've done on the token website and having to get that out at the end of last year, we need to basically consolidate a little bit now. So that's our main focus right now. Once we're there, we're hoping to have various tools to basically help us build apps faster. For example, a UI toolkit, which allows us to basically have some Lego pieces to build apps quicker. And hopefully we can use some of those pieces to and bring them back into this desktop wallet so that we have a really nice, consistent designing experience across all of our apps and websites.
Yes, and there is also one more thing that we are not used to talk about, but as we are scaling as a company, we are also spending more time on improving the overall user and developer experience across the company. So we are improving and working on the documentation, so we can ship better documentation, so you can rely less on chat and more on high quality documentation with several guides for anything you want to do. There are also improvements made so we can lower the entry barrier to getting started with developing with the Vega protocol locally. So there is a huge part of the work that today is done on this. So this is maximizing the user experience, maximizing the developer experience. So once we go out full with the tools, the chain, the user experience, the developer experience, the documentation, the support as well, because we have to train everyone to take care of this. So there is really a lot of going on in Vega, and this is why it might be it's so long for the desktop wallet, but we are doing our best to ship the best user experience. We don't want to ship something that is not going to answer anyone problems. And Matthew is really taking care of this and ensuring that things are the best and the easiest possible for us and the users.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really that's quite comprehensive, and it's good to see your thought process about how you guys think about the products you ship and the way that I don't know, the way you're approaching release processes now compared to how we did it before. I think if you were looking around the internet recently, you might have seen that Vega has one of the YouTubers said we have the second most developers in crypto right now. Well, we've been hiring at least faster than most other projects. And that's because we're really upscaling the amount of development work we can do and how quickly we can get things out. And so a lot of new people have joined, and we're working on getting everyone up to speed so that they can all start working really, really fast in parallel on the different projects that we're working on, including the wallet, including getting in mainnet trading, including creating a better development environment, and allowing people to build on top of Vega. So yeah, step by step, but we will get there.
Yes, and there is at least one other thing as well, that as we are aiming to enable trading, we have to keep in mind that we are betting heavily on tests. And so there is a huge part today that is on test. We are really trying to improve it as much as possible to bring the best quality we can. So you can absolutely trust the protocol, you can trust the infrastructure, and things are behaving exactly as we are expecting it to behave.
Yeah, and for those of you that are not seeing from the outside, there's a big QA team, and their whole job is just to make sure that things are tested and working well. Because as you see, there's a big hack every single day, like the crypto.com one we saw 3 days ago. And we don't want that to happen with Vega users' funds. So slowly and steady wins the race. But yeah, that's all of the questions for this week. Thank you, Valentin and Matthew, for giving your time to show us what you've been working on, and also giving us an insight into what the development teams are up to within Vega. For those of you that want to get more involved with development, as I mentioned earlier, there will be a very big hackathon taking place soon, and we're getting really deeply involved. So there'll be quite a lot of things for the community to do, and quite big bounties for you guys to be rewarded with if you manage to create the winning projects. We also release tech updates every month, so there'll be more updates on some of the things we're working on here. The next one will be in February. And yeah, come to future Vega Fairground Jams, 6 p.m. Thursday, 6 p.m. GMT or UTC on Thursdays. And you can catch some other people from the Vega team talking about what we're working on. And yeah, suggestions always welcome. So let us know what you want to see next.
Yes,
thanks,
and
Valentin.
if you really want to get involved in development and you are a developer, you can still apply to the job offers. And there is also another way if you want just to tinker with what we ship. There are some projects that are open source that can give you a small idea of what we are doing today, since the core is not yet released. And you can go to Discord and ask a question. We have every week we have a dedicated team to the matter, so you can ask question, and we will be very happy to help you finding your way to implement and talk to the APIs and things like this.
Yeah, amazing. And another thing I remembered is that I forgot what I remembered. I remembered something, but it's gone. So thanks for coming to the Fairground Jam. Matthew, any final remarks for our lovely audience?
No, I think we've covered it all off. Pleasure to do this, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
Someone commented that they get the feeling that Vega team is developing the Linux of derivative trading in the future. So
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what it means actually. I wanted to answer, but I need to create an account. So could you elaborate around this? Like, actually, we are trying to create the Linux in terms of feature, but the macOS in terms of cleanness and yeah, it's a bit black and white. But hopefully we are because we are kind of crypto punk company in some ways. So we have to break the rules in terms of design at some point. We are not just like the others. So obviously we are going to be different. But expect us to create something a bit more user-friendly. That's a black terminal screen. That was just a starter. Matthew is really working on making us the next Steve Jobs company.
Cool. Nice.
No pressure, Matthew.
All good.
So you're going to get rid of the black console. You're changing the black console to something a bit different.
No. We are not getting. I mean, which console are you talking about? The Vega wallet in the command line, or the console with the graph and the charts?
The graph, or the graph console. What were you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about like the terminal, the Vega wallet CLI version is a bit awkward and daunting at the beginning, but this is because we had to address some technical issues. We had to address the validator needs. They are working on servers, so they can't afford having GUIs and things like this. So this is why we bet on this at the beginning, and there was a lower entry barrier for us to develop this to begin with. But ultimately, it's going to be better with this GUI, and I'm not so sure we are going to get rid of the black console, the web app anytime soon.
Okay. Yeah, another thing I thought of is, as you remember, I mentioned, well, if not remember, but in the community call, I mentioned the ambassador program that we're working on. We want to open applications for that when it's ready. But for the people that do join and get really deep within the team, we'll give you access to these sorts of, you can test out some of the things we're working on a bit earlier than other people and give us feedback, which we can then use to make it much more user-friendly for everyone else in the community. So yeah, someone said black console is beautiful. Zoom 0x, one of our moderators. So yeah, thank you. We like the black console. It's the Vega colors. Okay, I think that's all we have time for this week. Thank you both. And I think we've said our final words. So I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. And enjoy the rest of your week and your weekends. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Dagan. Bye-bye.